So today I'm going to show you how to make a bechamel sauce, also known as a white sauce, and I'm going to flavour mine with cheese and add it to some pasta to make a macaroni cheese. The basic rule of thumb, if you're going to make any kind of white sauce or bechamel sauce, is to have the same amount of butter and flour, and then whatever amount you've gone for, to get your milk measurement, you times it by 10. Alright, so I'm going to do a small amount today, so I'm going to do 25 grams of butter, I've got 25 grams of plain flour, and so to that I'm going to have 250 millilitres of semi-skimmed milk. You can also use whole milk as well. Don't use skim milk because it won't thicken up enough, alright, it's not enough fat content in there, but semi-skimmed or whole milk is absolutely fine. And I've just gone for a basic mature cheddar cheese. I would say for this amount of sauce, somewhere between 100 grams to 200 grams of cheese, depending on how strong you like it. Okay, let's start off with a small flame. Turn that down quite low. Put my pan on. Remember to always have your pan handle to the side, never facing outwards in case you knock into it. So small saucepan on there. I'm going to add in my 25 grams of butter. And I'm going to let that start to melt. As soon as the butter has melted, you're going to put in your plain flour and then stir it together to make a paste. My butter's almost melted now. There's no need to put the flour in gradually, put the whole thing in all at once and then give it a good stir. Like I said, you want to make a paste. So the paste that you're going to make is called a roux. Alright, so once you've made your roux, once you've brought your flour and your butter together to make a paste, you make sure that you cook that out for at least a minute, just so that you cook out the flour, because what you don't want is for your sauce to taste like raw flour. So once you've got it into a paste-like consistency, remember we call it a roux, we're just going to continue to cook it for another minute or so. Next we're going to add the milk. Now you want to add this little bit at a time. So once you've added in a little splash of milk, you're going to continue to cook this and continue to stir it until all of that milk has been absorbed into your roux mixture. Can you see how it's got really, really thick now? So that's all mixed in. So add in a bit more and stir it again. Careful not to splosh all your milk over the side. So you want relatively quick stirring action, but a small action. So I'm not stirring the pan really vigorously. I'm working quickly, but my movements are quite small. Again, that's absorbed nicely in there. And you're going to keep repeating the same method over and over again until all of the milk has been combined. This will ensure that you get a nice, smooth sauce with no lumps, and it's important that you stir all the time. So just be patient with it. It might feel like it's not going to come together, but it will. You just have to keep repeating that same action over and over again. So small movements, but work quite quickly until all of the milk has been combined. Okay, all of my milk is combined now. At the moment, what I've got is quite a thin, milky kind of sauce. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to cook this, still on a low heat. I don't need to turn it up. I'm going to continue to stir this, continue to cook this until it gets nice and thick. And you'll feel it change. So just keep stirring it with your spoon and you'll feel the consistency and the thickness of your sauce change as you move your spoon through it. So again, it might feel initially like it's not going to come together, but if you're patient, you will feel that it is working. Okay, so my sauce is now starting to come to the boil. So I've done that very slowly. Do not be tempted to turn the heat up, all right, because it won't help your sauce to thicken. So I've slowly got my sauce to boiling point. If I stop stirring, you're about to see the bubbles. Okay, and I've now got a really nice, thick, custard-like consistency. All right, so now I've got to this point. I'm going to turn the heat off completely, and then I'm going to pour in my pre-grated cheese. I did it early to save myself some time. So again, like I said, I've turned the heat off. There's no need to continue cooking this. The residual heat from your sauce will be plenty enough to melt your cheese. Again, like I said, I've just used a basic cheddar, but feel free to experiment. You know, you could put mozzarella in there. You could use a milder cheese if you prefer. You could try like Stilton, like a blue cheese, or a French cheese like Camembert, completely up to you. Give that a nice stir on residual heat. You see that cheese is starting to melt now. And I've turned the heat off because actually your sauce will continue to thicken. So we don't want it too thick, otherwise it won't be nice to eat. It's nearly there now. Can you see how thick that is now? Okay, perfect. To pour over some pasta. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to cook up some macaroni, and I'm going to mix the two together so you can see what the final result is going to look like. And there you have it, your completed macaroni cheese made from a bechamel sauce using the roux method.